Guy and girl mutual friends told me they're very different takes on their breakup with each other. I have mutual friends who are dating. I guess we're, now. They broke up over this weekend. Both called to tell me about the breakup. I'm going to share both their versions of what happened to show the power of perspective. And really, because I'm not a gossip, so I have no one in my real life to tell. Context: they met 4 weeks ago. They've been on about 8 dates. This is my best paraphrase of how they recounted their stories to me, abridged for clarity's sake. His version of events. I knew right away I'd found something special with this girl, and I had to lock her down. She talked about how her issue in past relationships was the guys not wanting commitment and being squirrely about putting labels on things. So I planned a whole nice romantic weekend for us. I surprised her with a romantic trip into New York City. She'd never been, and she said she'd always wanted to go. I got us a nice Airbnb. I got us a fancy restaurant. Flowers. The whole thing was perfect. We're outside the restaurant, and I asked her, "Will you be my girlfriend?" She says yes. It's all good. We go in and sit down to eat, having a great conversation. Chilling, and it's all good. Midway through dinner, she goes to the bathroom, comes back and says she's not feeling well. I ask if she wants to go back to the Airbnb. She says no, she just needs some air. She gets up and full-on leaves the whole city, leaves her suitcase of clothes, just leaves. She sends me a text and says she wasn't feeling well, so she went back home. Calls the next day and said she feels like things were moving too fast, so she'd have to not see me anymore. I don't know what happened. She won't meet up with me to talk about it. I don't know if she's insane or I am. You just can't win with women. I did literally exactly what she wanted. Her version of events. It's too bad it didn't work out, because I actually really liked him. We had seen each other for a few weeks, and were just at the stage where we were talking about what we wanted. I told him things didn't work out with my ex-boyfriend because after 2 years together, he refused to be clear whether or not our relationship was leading to marriage, or we were ultimately just dating. And that at my age, I'm not someone who's comfortable dating just to socialize. I don't know if that's what started this whole mess, but I thought I had been pretty straightforward. So he tells me he's planned a trip. He doesn't ask me if I want to go on a trip. He tells me that he has booked and paid for a trip for us overnight out of town. It seemed like he was trying to do something nice, and I wanted to see where things could go between us, so I said, "Fuck it, let's take the trip." I was pressing him for details as to where we were going, where we were staying, how we were getting there, and he wouldn't tell me any of that, which made me uncomfortable. I know he's been a friend of yours a long time, but that only means so much to me. I've only ever met him a handful of times. So I find out he's driving us in his personal car to New York City, where I've never been, and do not know anybody, do not know the agenda or plan. But I agreed to go. I feel like I'm being over-anxious. We go to this shady and unhygienic Airbnb, and it is a studio apartment with 1 bed. There's a couch, so I'm rationalizing, I guess one of us is going to sleep on the couch. I set my stuff down, and I'm freaking out internally because I've never slept with this man, and I had no intention to do so that weekend. I felt played. I felt like he'd taken advantage of me. Nothing leading up to that weekend physically between us should have led him to believe we were in a place in the relationship where we were about to have sex. He knows I'm just coming off this awful breakup and wanting to take things slow. I was careful to be sure he knew that. So we drive to this expensive restaurant in his personal car. He makes a point to say he's going to pay for everything. And my stuff is at some Airbnb I can't even remember the address to. At this point, I'm starting to get legitimately terrified. Then, as we're walking in, he asks me, "Will you be my girlfriend?" After not even a month of seeing each other, after getting me in a strange city with my stuff somewhere inaccessible, and my only mode of transportation, his personal car, and 1 bed to share that coming night. I called my dad to get me a ticket home, and I called an Uber, and I pretended to be sick so as not to offend him. He seemed like a nice guy with genuine intentions, But you don't know how a guy is going to take rejection at that level, even if it's an honest misunderstanding. I felt really upset. If he knew what he was doing, he's disgusting. And if he didn't know, he hasn't been listening to me at all. So the next day, I called and told him it was over. I can't imagine what he was thinking. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to my channel. There are many great stories for you on my channel. Thank you for watching.